I work with a quasi-public, government institution called National Initiative for Civic Education. It is responsible for civic education, voter education, and other, education in other national strategic issues. So it's predominantly working with both the urban and the rural areas across the country. We're in the 28 districts of Malawi. So it's a big program which is funded by both government and donors. And it's a place where we are also encouraging and promoting good governance, not just in government, but also on how civil society organizations, NGO, talk and do what they preach. So basically we are into that space, and next year, 2019, we have the elections and we're very busy doing the voter education across the country. So you can imagine how busy we are. I'm here, but it's also a nice place to be because this is also the place where you learn a lot of things in terms of how you influence good practices in government, good practices in the sphere of governance, good practices in terms of collaboration between civil society, business, and government. It's one of the places where you also get inspired and get motivated to ensure that you learn as much as possible so that you also deliver effectively. It's a nice place to be, actually. I really feel that I was at the right time and at the right place because working with the communities, for your interest, you may know that Malawi is one of those poorest countries in this part of the world. Over 51% of the population live below poverty line. And for poverty to be reduced or eradicated, you need good governance, you need good leadership, you need responsive public delivery systems. And these are the major challenges in our context. With high levels of corruption and politics of patronage, we are so challenged. And coming into this space, it really empowered me and get appreciation in terms of effective strategies which are working elsewhere, but also to get an inspiration in terms of what other countries are doing. Yeah, we have problems as African countries, but other countries are doing far much better. And learning in this space in terms of how others have taken themselves out of poverty, I think is one of the things that I'm taking back home. But also learning in terms of giving oneself to the service of the nation is one of the things that has hugely impacted me in the course of doing this program. So really I'm inspired, well equipped and empowered, and I feel really ready to do much more and ensure that I sit in that space, occupy that space where I advocate, inspire others also, that public service is a calling for the people. We have to be passionate about it. We also have to be mindful of the legacy that we leave behind to the generations to come.
Amen.
I feel greatly honored and very inspired at the same time. Mandela, for your information, is one of the few leaders that I've always drawn an inspiration from. For me, he's more or less like a spiritual leader who inspires you to take action. He was someone that was not only a thought leader, but was someone that was also a practical leader in terms of doing what he believed is the right thing to do. One of the things that I still remember I quote from him is that time is always ripe to do the right things. And for me, every leader should be inspired by that. Every leader is in that position, perhaps at the time such as this. So I believe in what he said, and I believe time is always ripe for us, those of us that are occupying different spaces, to do the right things, to deliver for the public service, to deliver for the social service, to deliver for the poor and the poorest, the youth who have so much aspirations. They need a better place. So we need to create that better place, a place like what Mandela left behind in Africa. So the changing of the name for the school, for me, that's one of the best things that I would recommend the school has done. And I believe it is going to go a long way to inspire more in Africa to come. It will be more or less like a well of wisdom where people come, and tap the wisdom from people like Mandela. So I'm sure the school is also going to, and it's actually already doing that in terms of propagating and promoting the ideals that Nelson Mandela lived for. It is a powerful thing. For me, you may wish to know, apart from the partial scholarship that the school gave me, I was sponsoring myself, not my institution back home. It's not that I was, the challenges which are there in terms of traveling to come would stop me from something that I believe that is going to empower me, something that is going to increase my capabilities, and something that is going to help me serve others even much more better, and share the story together and grow together and move together as African people. It's the ideals which I believe in solidarity with other African and moving together with other African countries. I think we need to be moving together, and places such as this is where you are inspired to hold hands and lift each other up to say, well, let's be moving on despite the challenges ahead of us.